Hey everyone, it's James here from Gibbs Gambling, and it's been a long time since I've made a video, but we're finally coming into fall. We're finally hitting my big money making season. So I am so excited to announce that this fall we're going to be releasing at least 2 videos a week. We're going to be making an NFL and an NCAA video every single week on this channel. And to top it off, we've got a goal for this season. It's really simple. We're going to take $200 and turn it into $10,000. How are we going to do that, you ask? We're going to do it through pyramids, parlays, and just kicking some overall butt gambling. Last year, I made over $10,000 throughout the entire year, and I'm going to say last year ended in, let's say, April of this year, at the end of the NCAA season. This year, our goal is to make that 10K within the time of from right now until probably the NFL playoffs, if not the Super Bowl. So how are we going to do that? Well, first off, we've got some rules for that. Number one, we can bank at any time. So some of these first week picks are going to be for $5,000, $10,000. There's one that's even for $500,000. If that one hits, I think we're going to call it a success, but we'll keep on going through the rest of the year. Also, but like I said, we can bank at any time. So if I have a bet that hits for $5,000 and I want to bank $4,000 of that and say, hey, this goes towards that $10,000, we're going to do that. Any good bettor would do that. You don't take $5,000, make it, and then go, well, I'm going to bet $5,000 more. That's incredibly, incredibly stupid. So, anyways, banking is available at any time. We're going to try to hit the marks as early as possible. One example that happened last year was when the Bills had the game that got snowed out. I had so much of my bankroll in that game. It ended up voiding out, and I got the money back into my account. But that game was definitely not going to go over 40 points. Next, we're going to throw out 2 to 3 parlays per week per sport league. Depending on what goes on in the NFL, we'll probably start putting out some same-game parlays as well. So I'm going to probably try to have anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 7 bets per week NFL-wise. And we're going to try to have at least 3 a week in NCAA. And then I'm going to have a running tracker at the end of every week. And every Wednesday, we're going to try to have an NCAA video. Every Thursday, we're going to try to have an NFL video. Depending on what there is this year on FanDuel, when it comes to risk-free bets, we'll probably be betting those parlays every single week. We'll see how it goes. And basically any boosts, things like that, we're going to try to pick those up and be betting those as well. But we got to build the bankroll first. So here we are for Week 1 NCAA. Here are the Week 1 picks. Here are our Week 1 picks. The first one here is just a straight money line bet involving quite a few teams. I tried this week to segregate bets, but it was really hard because there are so many games on so many days. But in the case of this one, got a pretty easy one. This one starts Thursday and ends Saturday. And we'll go ahead and get started off. So we've got NC State, Minnesota, Miami of Florida. Remember this is very distinct because there's a couple of bets that I have on these that some are for Miami of Florida, some are for Miami of Ohio. And they're playing against one another, so Battle of Miami. But Miami of Florida, Michigan State, SMU, Boston College, Liberty, Iowa, TCU, Washington, Western Kentucky, and Penn State. That bet there, $40, pays out $211.31. That hits, that basically replenishes our bankroll right there and almost doubles it. So next, this is another large money line bet. There's going to be some repeats here, but same thing. NC State, Miami, Florida, Michigan State, SMU, Boston College, Iowa, TCU, Purdue, Liberty, Wisconsin, Washington, Western Kentucky, Washington State, Illinois, Texas Tech, Penn State, Virginia Tech, UCLA, Oregon State, and Clemson. $20 here pays out $419.23. This is another one of those like, hey, we've got a lot of teams that have a good shot here. Let's take it. Next, another money line. This one is a wee bit bigger. little bit more of an amount, and this one, same thing, Thursday through Saturday. NC State, Minnesota, Miami of Florida, Michigan State, Louisville, Purdue, Washington, Cal, Texas Tech, Tulane, Virginia Tech, and UCLA. $50 here pays out $667.49. Miami of Ohio 17.5 against Miami of Florida. Colorado plus 20.5 against TCU. Dion is going to have those guys ready to fire. I don't think they're going to win because I've picked TCU in every other bet, but I do think Colorado is going to be close. Next, Indiana 28.5 at against Ohio State. When I made this, it was 28.5. When I get to another bet, it'll be 29. It is currently at 29. So as this one keeps going up, keep throwing money at Indiana. I really do feel like IU is going to cover. I don't think IU is going to win. I think this is going to be that typical Ohio State first game of the season. They'll start out tied 14-14 at halftime, maybe 14-10 and be down, or just up 14-10 and then run away with it in the second half. However, IU will keep it close enough that it doesn't turn into a full blowout. And this game is at IU. Next, West Virginia 20.5 point dogs against Penn State. Middle Tennessee State at Alabama over 54.5. So in the case of this one, I think Alabama is going to be up big pretty much most of the game. I think Middle Tennessee State's going to have their starters in until the fourth quarter, but those starters are going to put up 1 or 2 touchdowns maybe against Alabama's second-string defense, and it'll end up being a score where there's more than 54 there. And then last, San Jose State 16.5 against Oregon State. San Jose State actually covered against USC this past week, so I don't see why they can't do that against Oregon State. Next, this is the freebie of the week. So FanDuel put out a $5 risk-free bet on college football, whatever you wanted to bet. So I bet $5 and did all spreads. So here we go. Liberty, 9.5 point favorites. Kentucky, 26.5 point favorites. Don't know if I can go to Muncie in Indiana again after that one. Purdue, 4.5 favorites against Fresno State. East Carolina, 35-point underdogs against Michigan. This is one, like all the others that I'm talking about with these, mid-major conferences playing against these larger conferences. I don't think they're going to be even close, but I don't think they're going to lose by more than 35. Okay. Already made my case for Colorado, so Colorado 20.5 against TCU. Iowa to cover as the favorite, 25.5 against Utah State. Now this is the one that I got the opportunity. Indiana 29.5. Rice 35.5 as a dog to Texas. Nevada 38.5 dogs against USC. USC didn't cover last week, and I think this one's going to be even harder to cover at 38.5. Army against Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Monroe 9.5 point dogs. Houston 1.5 point dogs against UTSA. West Virginia again 20 point dogs against Penn State. Texas Tech 14 point favorite against Wyoming at Wyoming. Old Dominion 14.5 point dogs against Virginia Tech. Old Dominion last year upset them, and I think it's going to be closer than what everybody thinks this year. UCLA 14.5 point favorites against Coastal Carolina. Rutgers 6.5 point favorites against Northwestern. Jackson State 4.5 point favorites against Florida A&M. They beat the hell out of whoever they played last week. And then last, Clemson 12.5 points favorites against Duke. $5 here pays $599,457.82. I hope that anybody else puts this bet in and you hit it along with me, and then you can never worry about Gibbs gambling again because I'm done. So one thing that I did forget in our last segment is we do have some season-long picks for NCAA right now for this week as well. I'll do the college football playoffs. I've got USC, Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio State. $10 there pays off $246.27. I am a lifetime USC fan, and don't get me wrong, I know that Caleb Williams is the Heisman favorite at this point, but I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to take the Heisman this year. $25 on him wins $775. I'm not even a Colts fan, but I think that kid's going to pull it out. USC, Clemson, Georgia, Texas, Michigan. The one that I'm having a problem with is Michigan. I think that even with Harbaugh being suspended for the first 3 games, I think that they're still going to be able to pull off winning the Big Ten this year. And yeah, everything else is pretty much the odds-on favorite. But I just don't know about Michigan and Ohio State there. But $10 there pays 801.82. And that's actually the last bet of the week for us here. Really simple stuff this week. Week 1, it's absolutely a blast. I am so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be making videos again. Obviously, my video this week led off with some wins, and I'm hoping we lead off the next one with some wins. And if there's anything else that comes up during the week, I'll be putting out some shorts on YouTube, possibly even on Twitter. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that you hit these bets like I hope I do. And have a great week. And I'm James, and I'll bet you on it.